I told you guys aren't getting rid of me anytime soon. But hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and thank you all so much for being here. And today we have a one that's, in terms of quality, a doozy, because we have the Saw franchise. Not one of my favorite horror franchises. I'll just put it kindly. Yeah, but anyway, let's dive in here, and we're gonna start off. The tiers we have are congratulations, redeemable, not the best, unworthy, and the dreaded game over. And these are personalized tier lists of the Saw movies, so they are personalized to be like Saw. So, of course, I'm guessing if you've seen the films, most of you caught on to those ones, but. First up, we have Saw 3, and I'm mixed between not the best and unworthy. I am kind of scared to do this, but I think I'll go. It was fine at first, so I'll go not the best, but it barely gets not the best. It borders unworthy, but. Saw 3, I thought that one was gonna be my favorite when I found out, like, the premise of this guy, like, this guy is getting to, how do I explain this? He's given the choice to just allow these people to die because they were involved in his son's, like, death, so that is a very interesting premise, so I was really hooked on it, but it's really not that good in execution. The traps are pretty brutal as usual. And the rack, that has got to be the most awful and painful one in this entire franchise. If you were to tell me you're gonna be put in a saw trap, but you get to tell me one that it cannot be. As much as I want to not have the one from Saw 4, which is we're about to talk about, where that guy that you want to see die, we'll just say that. I don't want to get demonetized because I will if I say what he has done. But as much as I don't want to have his trap because it involves poking out your eyeballs, and I like movies, man. I don't want to get rid of my eyeballs. So as much as I wouldn't want to do that, the rack is going to be the one I'm choosing because that trap is terrible. Oh, man. But now we have Saw 4. And let's waste no time. Unworthy. Most of those franchises go in there. But Saw 4 is another one that... Let me just say this. Saw 4, 5, and 6, if I mix anything up, or just am like getting through them quick... I do not like the Hoffman saga, so I am not they're very forgettable films. Of the Saw films, those are probably the 3 most forgettable, so I may be rushing through them pretty fast, and you'll be like, why isn't it longer? Because I don't remember much from them. I could not tell you a very, very specific detail from any of them, which is kind of sad, but... yeah, but Saw 4 is a film where the traps can be good, that the guy that you see that you know what he did because they kind of show a video of it. You want to see him get his comeuppance, and spoiler, he gets it, and it is brutal as heck. And it's actually someone where unlike a lot of people in this franchise, you can actually get on board with them and be like, oh yeah, you're going down. I don't care a bit about what you're about to get. So I am happy about that, but it's just so boring and just the only positive I can really give to most of these, to probably every single one of these films except really X, because it kind of broke that because it was 2023. But they're very short. They're only like an hour and a half. Even 3D is like an hour and a half, and oh man, Saw X had to be nearly 2 hours. Why? Because it was 2023 and they weren't allowed to have short films because they had to drag things out to ruin their films. I'm looking at you, Hunger Games. But now we have Jigsaw. I'll go at the top of not the best. A lot of people like to use this one as the punching bag. I know that they have not seen it. They're going to tell me like this is worse than 3D. Like, this film is nowhere near it in the bottom 3. Like, this film is miles better than most of this franchise. And it's not good. It's not. I gave it, I think, either a low 3 or 2.5. I think it was probably a 2.5. And the fact that this is I think my number 6 or 5. No, I think it's 5. That's actually really pathetic. It's a really just. Yep, it's 5, and I don't even like it. Yeah, so that is pretty sad. So there's only 4 films in this entire franchise that we give a positive review to. But yeah, that's sad. But Jigsaw, of all the films on this list of Saw, it's the least Saw feeling of any of them. It has it has a different vibe to it, and I can respect that. It's just there's a lot of problems in that. It just has a lot of problems too. That, I mean, it's definitely more competently made than most of the films on this list. This and Saw X are probably the most well made films. And of course, when you get into like the last little bit with like the CGI lasers, it does get a bit weird. But Saw kind of does get weird always in the ending. The ending, they always had like the same thing. Like there's like a twist, and then you have that music play, and then you realize, why do I keep doing this? It only really worked in the first 2. 3 had a pretty decent kind of twist, so did 4. Okay, not really 3. 1, 2, and 4 kind of have a pretty good one. And Spiral. Yeah, but let's talk about Spiral. And Spiral is easily one of the best by far in this franchise, so we will go redeemable. So, this is the first one I saw, so I'll admit I have a tiny little bit of nostalgia, but it's like, hey guys, it's not that much nostalgia. It's nowhere near, like, when people say this is like an unwatchable travesty to humanity, like easily the worst Saw film, I'm like, have you seen this film? This is better than this is like bordering a top 3 Saw film. Okay, not top 3. It's actually no, kind of close. It depends on the day, really. But and Chris Rock, I can get very mixed on. There's moments where he gets a bit too serious for his own good, because I'm used to seeing him in things like Grown Ups, and it's like, you're not pulling this off at times. But he can be good. It's just it depends on what he's doing. He's good and he's not good, if that makes sense. It depends on the way that he's treating the subject material that he has. But in trying to be like this big macho guy when it's Chris Rock, he's nowhere near macho. Let's be honest, he's not. But when he does like some of the humor, it's really good. But when he's like trying to go really serious, when like he's saying like that was just a diversion to get them out of the precinct, and just going full on serious, it does fall a little flat. But there's moments where it works, and there's also moments where it doesn't. But there's moments here and there. Now we have Saw X, and I watched this one last night because I watched this in 3D and Jigsaw last night. And point of record, I've never seen the Saw films before I decided to do this. So these are all first time watches. And X, I will go in congratulations. This, a lot of people are going as best of the franchise, and in some ways I see that. In some ways I'm like, there's elements that I'm not as good on, but I did really like some aspects. Like, I like that we actually get to root for John Kramer in this, because John Kramer's kind of one of my least favorite characters of all time, simply because of like the motives of him. Because there's a lot of times where he puts people that are completely innocent, which he knows in peril, and actually gets several of them killed as like a punishment for the people that he's wanting to punish. And I hated that, so I don't forgive that. So as much as I do want to like some of the times that he does it, I really am not the biggest fan of John Kramer. But in this one, they play him more as like this sad old man that was actually tricked and conned, and I really like that part about it. So they trick him, and that was really good to see, like the revenge side, and especially like I'll just say that there's a twist in here that is great. It's one of the best ones in the franchise, and I love how satisfying it is about what they did. Oh man, it was really good. But and you guys want to talk about a great post-credit scene? This one has a great one that really makes me now want to see Saw 11. I'll just say that. And although it was partially ruined by the fact that we did get Hoffman in, I know a lot of people love Hoffman. I do not. I may spoil part of mine, and technically it's the next one, technically not, but anyway, let's just move on. Saw 3D is by far the worst in this franchise. I'm going game over. Yeah. You guys lost this game really hard. So the traps in here are pretty good, but the story and the execution is absolutely terrible. Like the gore, you can notice there's some CGI this time, and it sticks out a lot. And especially some of the things like the acting can be pretty bad. And although there's one really good trap with the guy that plays the singer from Linkin Park, God rest his soul, because he is dead, but he gets a really gnarly death. Well, kind of gnarly, but every death in this franchise is kind of gnarly. Let's be honest, but it's one of the gorier ones probably in the franchise. There's some really gnarly stuff, like the one where it has like those like three things, one that'll go into through the mouth and the other two in the eyes, and it pokes her, and it's ugh. Another one with like which is several traps in one, where this car, the guy's inside it and he's glued to it, which is the guy that's in Linkin Park. So he has to like move forward to grab the lever, or otherwise there's a hook that's in the back of the car that's currently tied to his friend's jaw and really hooked around. So that's a pretty gnarly one when you see what happens. So it's hooked to that. And it's held up by like this thing that as soon as the timer runs out, it breaks, so the car's gonna fall down, and his girlfriend is right below it on the wheel, right below the wheel. So her head's gonna be crushed, and then you have a guy that's right in front of the car that's like, I think he's like taped there or something. I don't know. He's stuck there. So 4 people are gonna die if this guy screws up, and he does screw up, and it was just barely. He barely screws up. He nearly made it, but he failed, and that's a pretty gnarly one. So the gore effects can look good at times, but overall, this is a terrible film, and I kid you not, I really am gonna have a hard time rewatching this one. It's definitely a game over. But speaking of game over, the original Saw is not. And we will go at the top of congratulations. This is my personal favorite Saw film. I mean, I did like X a lot. I would go this one over it slightly. And the twist in here is really good, actually. I did have it spoiled for me, sadly. But when people say top 3 horror film of all time, I kind of feel like they're just letting their experience be colored by the twist, because this is not a top 3 horror film for me. I mean, part of that's not really. A lot of people like to just say this is like an utter masterpiece, and some of the acting is not very good, like from Lee Winnell, and especially the guy that plays in I don't know. The guy that, okay, I'm blanking on his name. The guy that is with him. So they're both not very good at times. But especially Lee Winnell. But I'm not blaming Lee Winnell too much, because he was like in his, oh no, he was a student at like a college or something. So he's not. I don't blame him too much. Meanwhile, this guy should have been a bit better, and his acting in particular is by far the worst. Especially like when you find out that like his daughter and his wife are being held captive, so he's like trying to like really be serious, and it's like this is falling on its face hard. Cut camera. We need to have a talk behind the scenes. Yikes. So I do respect this film a lot for some of its stuff. I wouldn't go and call it like a top 3 horror film of all time and like an utter masterpiece like some people like to let on. It's good, but it's not exactly great. I gave it a 4.5 at first. I would lower it to a 4 slightly probably by now. So I like it a lot, but it's not perfect. Now we have Saw 2, and we will go at the back of congratulations for here. And actually, yeah, I'm fine. It's by a hair. It borders that and redeemable, but I'll go congratulations for the twist alone. This is my favorite twist in the franchise. I will openly say that I think it's a much better executed twist than the first one because that one legitimately blew my mind. And there's elements to it that I see like, okay, I can tell why people don't like some of this stuff. It has like that. It started like the trend where each opening was kind of like one of those traps, and so you do get like this called like a Venus flytrap type of device where this guy, if he doesn't like cut his eye out in it, and I really wish that he would have just I keep saying like, but I'm trying not to. But if he just cut the stitches out and just grab the key thing from under his eyelid or whatever it was, it just makes me squirm trying to think about it. But if he doesn't get that, then the Venus flytrap with spikes all over, it's just going to close and just slam him with spikes in his head. And he loses, of course, and gets a lot of, let's just say it doesn't show much because the thing is on his head. So, but I know is there's some blood. And it's, the Saw franchise is not for the faint of heart. Just know that. Really, it's not for you guys probably, but it's an enjoyable film. It's not perfect. None of the Saw films are perfect. And now we have Saw 5, Game Over. I'll go top of Game Over. But of all the ones on this list, this is the most boring and the most forgettable of the bunch probably. Besides the fact that there's people working together, I could not tell you a single detail about this. The only detail I can maybe tell you is that I think this is the one with Hoffman like winning, like trying to get through like this glass door, and I might be screwing that up. It could be Saw 4, but I think it's this one. I think it's that one, and all I know is Hoffman wins in the end somehow, and I don't like it. I don't like Hoffman, so I just no, not for me. And now we have Saw 6. Actually a fan favorite of the bunch. I know a lot of people really like Saw 6. I do not. Really at all. I will go back... actually, no. I'll go back if I'm worthy, but... I mean, it would have been above Saw 4 if it wasn't for the ending. The ending with Hoffman winning because... Again, I'm not a fan of Hoffman, and we finally get the Venus... No, not the Venus flytrap, that was in Saw 2. We finally get the reverse bear trap, which is a gnarly device when you put it on someone. And you take the most unlikable and horrible person probably in this entire franchise with Hoffman, and we were like, oh yeah, we're going to see the reverse bear trap actually like happen to someone, and it's going to be Hoffman. Somebody must have read my Christmas list. And... So, we're finally going to see it happen. And then he manages to, he shoves the entire thing in a glass thing. So, the thing barely goes off. So, it is ripping his jaw. So, he then rips it out. He then, rips his jaw out of the device. And there's a gnarly shot right before the credits roll of him, going yeah, with his jaw completely severed or something. It's really gnarly, and I'm saying gnarly a lot because this is a very gnarly franchise, and so I did not like that at all. The fact that I wanted him so bad to get that reverse bear trap, he's the one person that doesn't. He's the one person that actually manages to escape that. I was so furious, especially because in Saw 3D, the person that puts the bear trap on him actually gets that reverse bear trap herself, and she is the person that we actually see it executed on. Oh, man, I did not like that part at all. But as you can see, of course, I love this franchise. It's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, anyway, that is my tier list ranking for the Saw films. Be sure to let me know. What do you guys want to just do ranking? Put it in the comments below. Just last this, and or just let me know where would you place these ones in their respective tiers. If you guys are big fans of Saw, let me know down below. Are you casual Saw fans? Or are you just really not a big fan of this franchise like me? Let me know that down below. Would love to hear your thoughts. Please hit that like button and that subscribe button if you guys would like to support me. If you guys love my content, then I will be getting more out on my Patreon page very soon. So if you guys want to, then I highly suggest supporting me through Patreon. It helps me out a lot. I will have the link to that in the description, as well as the link to my Letterboxd page. But I thank you very much for your consideration. And thank you all so much for watching, and have a good one.